G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. Still on the trail of trying to sort out my Blender issues. Currently I'm still running Blender 2.83, which is from the Arch repos. Still installed and cannot really do anything with this. And if I was to open up my recent videos, which was Ubuntu Unity, in this here, if I show this bit here, as soon as I click anywhere here, it's going to crash. It's the same as adding a video in, but I just wanted to explain what I normally do here. And in here, if I wanted, this would be a text document, I think it is, or maybe a picture, and that would be a transform. What is it? Select, and it will be, sorry, add. It's an effect strip, a transform effect strip. And what's going on here is that'll flash as the playhead comes across here. It'll flash like so. So that's how I got it set up. And normally when I want to flash 3, 4, 5 times, I just copy and paste that, so I can just add them side by side. So copying and pasting that, if I do it once, it'll be fine. If I do it again, it'll crash. And then you got the Control Z, which is undo, which is here, Control Z. Yep, any more than probably 4 or 5 of those, I get, like I said in my previous video, out of sync video. It'll be playing something that's way out of sync, and also the sound goes unusually loud and weird. So there's that. So they're the problems I'm having, and not to mention that I can't even add into this without it crashing. So if I was to select that, just select anywhere here, crash. Okay. So then I've got the Blender Flatpak, which I'm using, Blender Flatpak, and this one is 2.83.2. Now this one works, so that's not a problem. But the problem with this one is, this is my last video. Let's just go to my other screen, that's it. So when I undo things here, I haven't tried copy and paste yet, but I'm sure that'll be the same. Undo steps, it'll crash after 4 or 5 times, and also copying and pasting. Let's add a text. Let's try something with text. Oh, it's got to be on the playhead, of course, wherever that is. Probably at the start. There we go. And then I'll add something onto there. Test. So, and then we'll just lift that up in the middle of the screen, make it yellow so we can see it a little bit better, and just increase the size of that. So that's a test. And make the length of that about 10, so we'll make it flash. Okay, like so. And then, so I'll Control C and Control V, and there's a copy. Zoom that in. And let's move that over, and then Control V. All right, that's pasting. That seems to be working all right. So I haven't tried that. So that's Control Z, undo that. So that seems to be, copy and pasting seems to be working, but undo steps is not. So this is all working pretty well. I'll close that. I don't want to save anything there. So that was all working very well in maybe 2.79, 2.8 or 8.1. So I want to try and go back a couple of versions of Blender to see whether I can get back to where I was. So the other thing that changed, or the unusual thing that was happening, is when I was, if we have a look at the preferences here in Blender, and we go to the key map, which is under Sequencer Global. So we're looking for backspace, there it is. So remove gaps. So remove gaps was backspace. Now, when I was using Blender 2.79, when I did backspace, and if I was to let's just drop that down for a minute. If I was to remove a gap in here, let's just have a look. Remove a gap. Let's just go K there. Highlight the strips first, and then we'll go K, and then we remove that gap there, and K again. Now if I was X and erase that bit there, that little gap, and then page down to take the playhead to there, and then it'll always move to the playhead. Now backspace, when I first started using Blender, backspace would put the audio out of sync. So I then had to go to use Shift S, snap strips to playhead. So that's what I was doing, using Shift and S, and that was fine. The audio stayed stable. But when I updated a few versions from 2.79 to 2.8, I think it might have started in 2.81 or something, Shift S was putting the audio out of sync, and backspace was keeping it stable. So they're the other things I've been dealing with as well. So Blender's sort of changing, and I'm not criticizing Blender here. They're obviously doing a lot of updating to Blender, which is always a good thing, but there just seems to be a few little hiccups along the way, and that's probably expected when you're doing so many changes. So I'm not here to bash Blender at all. I'm just giving my experiences. So I'm patiently sort of trying to work out the best way to do things in Blender until these changes are sorted. So we're just going to head over to the Flatpak web page. Let's just bring that over here. Now in here we can downgrade, and this is what I'm going to do because I want to see what the previous versions of Blender were like. So first of all, what we can do is, and what I need to do is bring up the FlatHub page. Let's do a search for Blender, and let's open that up. And what the information I want from here is the name of Blender, and it tells you here. So if you want to know the command for Blender, it's org.blender.blender with a capital B. So that's what I need to know. So what we're going to do here is follow this here. Flatpak remote-info space-log FlatHub. So let's copy that and put a space. And then we'll do org.blender-blender with a capital D. So let's check that out. So we've got some previous commits here, and let's have a look at the version numbers. So we've got 2.83, 2.83, 2.81, 2.81. So that the latest version, the earliest version I can see there is 2.81, and that was on the 26th of November. So I'm trying to think back whether Blender was working okay on 2.81. I'm not really sure, but I'd like to go back as far as I can. So it looks like 2.81 is the latest I can do. So what we're going to do, according to the Blender, the Flatpak site here, is sudo flatpak update. So we're going to do an update and downgrade. Sounds a bit weird, but that's what we're going to do. So let's just bring that back down here. What I need is actually, let's just open that back up. I need this here. Copy that. Let's clear the screen. So sudo flatpak update space dash dash commit equals, and we'll paste that commit in there and enter that, put in my password, and yeah, that's all right, there's an error there because silly me forgot to put in org.blender dash blender with a capital D. That would help, so let's try that. Looking for updates, so Blender stable. Proceed with these changes to the system installation, yes. Updates complete, so let's just check that out and see what's going on with Blender. Let's close that and drop that down, and we shall try Blender Flatpak and see what version we are running. So I can see straight away that it's updated. It's got the startup screen here, the quick setup. So Blender, yep, all the defaults I normally take. So next, and version up here is 2.81 right there. So I've downgraded that to 2.81 video editing. Okay, so that I'm pretty happy about. I'm going to try that out and see whether everything is as it used to be. Try my next video and mess around with that. Maybe even I'll just make a special video just to play around with it, just to see how we go. Maybe even this video. Actually, I'll do this video and I'll see how it goes. And maybe I can put a little bit in the end of this video and tell you how the Blender 2.81 version went. So I'll update you on that as well. So I'll add it to the end of the video. So I won't finish the video off here. We'll leave it open and see if I've got any good news to add as to how Blender performed editing this video. So I have completed my Blender video. So I'm just tagging this video on the end. And I'm happy to report that Blender Flatpak 2.81 is working as I expect it to work. So I'm very happy with that. I've done the video. I'm going to tag this on the end. The other thing I need to do, so on this Flatpak website here where I got the information to downgrade the Blender Flatpak, there's also a piece here that says you can prevent the app from being included in future updates. So I might just do that for now for the Blender Flatpak. So Flatpak mask org.blender.blender with a capital B. Now it does say you need Flatpak 1.5 or later. I'm not really sure what version of Flatpak I'm running. So put in my password. Unsupported key masked. So maybe I've got an earlier version of Flatpak, I'm not sure. So that hasn't worked for me, that's fine. It's not a big deal because the other thing I want to report is I've been keeping tabs on the updates of Arch in the last few days. And what have we got here? The 25th. We had Blender update there, .3-2. And there was a Python report lab update. And I thought, oh, that sounds good. The 2 that might be the problem here. But that didn't really do much. There was an update to Mesa. I'm not sure what date that was on, but it'll be in between these dates somewhere. So then we had some updates here. Nothing really to speak about there, to be honest. And then this morning I got another update to Blender, which is -3. And the Linux firmware. So now this update has come through, and what's happened is Blender, not the Flatpak, but the Arch repos Blender, 2.83.3 now appears to be working. So let's go to here and we'll go to the Liberty OS video, which is the one I was trying to drag in all the time. Drag that in and now it's working. So that's good news. I don't know to what extent it's working, but I can add to the timeline. That's very positive. Now the other thing I did do is I went to the Blender bug reporting site and I reported some bugs in Blender. Now this bug here was the bug for video editing copy and paste, and this and they've come back to me the following day and said that should be fixed in 2.9 and 2.83.4, not released yet. So that's good news. Something is happening. Now there's a lot of names on this thing here. So I did do a search for this and I searched for both issues in the Blender site, but I couldn't find anything outstanding. Maybe my search criteria was a bit off, I'm not sure. But obviously there's a few people who have been reporting this bug anyway, so that's a good thing. So that's where I'm at with Blender at the moment. So there's been a few updates, so maybe the Arch updates have probably sorted a few things out, and Blender looks like the updates are coming through slowly but surely. So hopefully that all works out well. I'm going to have to try this one out again now and see how I go with that. And I'll probably announce at the start of the video whether I'm using 2.81 Flatpak or 2.83.3 of the Arch repositories. And I'll have to add that in because I don't know which one I'll be using until I'm done. So that's where I'm at with Blender at the moment, all starting to move in a positive direction. So I'm happy with that. So anyway, that was my Blender update there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting and informative. And thanks for watching.